Hello from Mindset Daily, wishing you a day full of health, peace, and happiness. Thank you for watching the Mindset Daily channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support us. Thank you so much.
Have you ever wondered why some people crush every goal while others can barely move forward? What if the real difference isn't luck at all, but the lessons they choose to live by? And what if those same lessons could transform you into someone unstoppable? The truth is simple. The unstoppable strip away excuses, destroy distractions, and rise with purpose. The world doesn't reward the average. It bows to those who refuse to be held back. So, which one will you be? In just a moment, you'll uncover the very lessons that separate the relentless from the rest. Most people drift through life like shadows, reacting instead of choosing. But there comes a moment when you must stand before the mirror of your soul and ask, who am I becoming? Until you answer with conviction, you'll remain adrift in currents designed by others. You must choose to be the architect of your destiny, not a wanderer lost in endless possibility. This clarity of identity becomes your North Star. Without it, every distraction turns into a dangerous detour. But once you know exactly who you're meant to be, the universe responds. The chaos shrinks, the noise fades, and the need for fleeting approval disappears. You move with undeniable purpose. And purpose, true purpose, makes you magnetic to opportunity. How do you claim this power? You begin by writing it down. Not vague dreams or goals borrowed from others, but a decision carved in stone. I am the one who will build what others thought impossible, conquer what others fear to even approach, and lead where most hesitate to step. Speak your vision aloud until your voice no longer trembles. Live it daily through choices that align with your mission. Endure the struggle when the path grows steep, and rise again each time obstacles push you down. Consider Booker T. Washington. Born into the chains of slavery, he had no wealth, no connections, no clear road ahead. Yet he decided, with unshakable certainty, who he would become. From that clarity, he built the Tuskegee Institute from nothing, led a movement that reshaped education and inspired a generation to see new possibilities. He chose his identity before the world could impose one. And now, so must you. The question stands before you like a doorway to your future. Will you passively accept the labels and limits others hand you? Or will you define yourself with the fierce determination that separates the extraordinary from the ordinary? Your answer is not just a thought. It is a declaration that will shape every choice from this moment on. So choose wisely. Choose boldly. Above all, choose. Set a goal so big it scares small thinking away, because the size of your goal determines the size of your life. Most people don't fail from aiming too high and missing. They fail from aiming too low and hitting their target with disappointing precision. Most people play it safe, wrapped in comfort, thinking small. But you weren't born to be average. You were born to be extraordinary. When you set a goal so massive it makes your heart race, so ambitious it forces you to stretch beyond your limits, so compelling it wakes you up hungry for progress, you begin to evolve into something greater than you were yesterday. That kind of goal kills laziness at its root. It crushes doubt under its weight. It makes excuses look so weak they cannot survive in its presence. Because now, you're not just chasing an outcome. You're pursuing a vision that demands your complete transformation. It all begins with crystal clear clarity. What would the absolute pinnacle version of your life look like? Not measured only in money, but in impact. Not defined by comfort gained, but by contribution made. Write this vision down in detail. If words fail, sketch it. Speak it aloud every day until it becomes the only language your soul recognizes. Thomas Edison wasn't trying to make a slightly better candle. That kind of small thinking would have changed nothing. Instead, he set his sights on lighting the entire world. People laughed at the audacity, mocked his failures, and called him foolish. Yet Edison remained relentless until he discovered the filament that illuminated humanity's path forward. That is the power of a goal so big it terrifies mediocrity. It rewires your brain to hunt for solutions instead of clinging to setbacks. Small goals create small lives. They demand little and return even less. They don't keep you awake at night with excitement or drive you to keep working while others rest. Small goals don't force you to grow beyond who you already are. But a goal of massive proportion pulls you forward like gravity. It turns ordinary days into extraordinary purpose. The impossible begins to look merely difficult, and the difficult becomes only a matter of time. Yet your mind will resist. It will throw out objections that sound perfectly reasonable. That's too big. People like me don't achieve things like that. I don't have the resources. What if I fail? These are not truths. They are the death cries of small thinking as it's being crushed under the weight of your rising greatness. Setting such a goal demands courage. It means standing alone when few understand. It means enduring ridicule from those who can't see your vision. It means risking failure on a scale that terrifies the average person. But in return, it unlocks capacities within you that would have remained forever dormant if you had settled for the comfort of mediocrity. Look at anyone who truly changed their field, their community, or the world. From business titans to scientific pioneers, from artistic revolutionaries to social reformers. None of them sought small, incremental improvements. They set goals so audacious they were mocked, even dismissed. Yet it was precisely those bold visions that fueled their perseverance when lesser ambitions would have collapsed. The question now demands your answer. Will you dream like the average, setting goals that require nothing more than what you already have? Or will you think like a visionary, creating a target so great it forces you to grow into the person capable of achieving it? Your choice changes everything. Burn the bridges that lead back to comfort. You cannot become truly unstoppable if you always keep an escape route. Safety is the silent enemy of greatness. The decision is clear. Will you hold on to a comfortable backup plan? Or will you march forward with absolute commitment, leaving no room for retreat? Too many people whisper, "I'll try." Those words quietly preserve the option of surrender. But those who rise to extraordinary heights declare with conviction, "I must." They don't leave doors open to old habits, familiar fears, or weaker versions of themselves. They burn the ships behind them, ensuring there is no path backward. So how do you apply this principle in your own life? You begin by systematically eliminating distractions that pull you away from your ultimate goal. You refuse to treat failure as a valid option in your mind. You make a binding declaration to your family, your friends, and most importantly, to your own soul. This is who I am now. And when challenges inevitably appear, when the road gets rough and doubt tries to creep in, you refuse to negotiate with weakness. You remind yourself retreat is no longer possible. Just like Hernán Cortés, who upon arriving in the New World, gave the unthinkable order, burn the ships. Why take such a drastic step? Because Cortés understood that removing the option of return would transform his men's psychology. With no escape plan, the only path left was forward. That single decision pushed them to conquer against overwhelming odds. Without a fallback, human potential expands to meet the demands of circumstance. This same principle applies to your goals, your discipline, and your greatest dreams. Burning bridges creates clarity. When retreat is no longer possible, innovation becomes inevitable. When comfort disappears, strength emerges. The human spirit, when cornered by its own highest aspirations, discovers hidden resources it never knew existed. Society praises keeping options open, holding on to safety nets, and always having a plan B. But those who truly transform their lives understand a deeper truth. Options breed hesitation, and multiple paths divide energy. Safety nets quietly permit failure. The strongest commitments are forged by removing every alternative. Marriage endures because two people burn bridges to all others. Entrepreneurs succeed because they cut ties with conventional jobs. Champions rise because they dedicate themselves to mastering one discipline alone. The discomfort you feel at this thought is proof of its necessity. The very bridges you hesitate to burn may be the ones holding you back from your true potential. So ask yourself, what bridges must you set aflame today? Which fallback options are quietly undermining your resolve? What old habits, relationships, or beliefs are you clinging to that keep you ordinary? Identify them, name them, then eliminate them with the decisive action that has fueled every great achievement in history. Remember, those who keep their ships intact may always have somewhere to retreat, but they rarely find the reason to advance. Repeat it until it becomes boring, and then master it anyway. Excellence doesn't come from dabbling in passing interests. It's built by choosing disciplined repetition over constant entertainment. While most people chase novelty and excitement, true success hides in what appears to be monotony. It lives in doing the same fundamentals again and again until they shift from conscious effort into pure instinct. When others grow restless and quit, you stay planted. When the thrill fades but the duty remains, you don't just endure, you double down. This is how you break away from the masses. You commit to the work whether it excites you or not. Professionals understand what amateurs never grasp. Excellence is found on the far side of boredom. That's why building a daily routine is essential. It shields your growth from distraction and keeps you anchored to progress. Discipline your mind to find satisfaction in repetition rather than variety. Every rep in the gym, every extra hour of reading, every uncomfortable conversation you face instead of avoiding. Each is a brick in the fortress of mastery. Strength is not built through novelty, but through consistent and patient application. Think of Jesse Owens, who spent years training in obscurity before the world ever spoke his name. His regimen wasn't glamorous. It was the same movements, repeated thousands of times when no one was watching. But when he finally ran in Berlin, each powerful stride carried the weight of relentless, unseen practice. What made him unforgettable wasn't the event alone. It wasn't the moment itself that made history. It was the preparation behind it. The world loves to celebrate victory, but rarely sees the tedious repetition that makes it possible. Behind every world-class pianist are thousands of hours of practice. The virtuoso spends decades repeating the same scales. The champion fighter throws the same punch 10,000 times until it becomes second nature. The successful writer produces pages daily, whether inspiration appears or not. This principle goes beyond physical skills. It governs every domain of excellence. The greatest business leaders return to fundamental principles and apply them relentlessly. The most influential thinkers revisit the same core questions, uncovering deeper truths with each pass. Even the strongest relationships thrive not on dramatic gestures, but on consistent habits of care and attention. Mastery demands you learn to love boredom, to accept that progress often feels like stagnation because growth happens in small, invisible steps. Day by day, the progress may look insignificant, yet over time it compounds into something unstoppable. This is why so few ever reach greatness. They cannot endure the plateau, those stretches where progress feels invisible despite constant effort. Ask yourself, are you willing to be bored for the sake of your greatness? Or do you need endless stimulation just to stay committed? The answer decides whether you're chasing fleeting excitement or building lasting impact. Professionals understand repetition isn't the enemy, it's the engine of growth. Mastery isn't doing something well once under perfect conditions. It's performing with excellence again and again, no matter the circumstance. That strength only comes from deliberate, consistent practice beyond the point where novelty disappears. Choose what matters most and commit beyond boredom. The reward isn't just skill, but unshakable confidence. Knowing you've earned expertise through a level of dedication most will never sustain. Replace fear with service. Fear shrinks your power, but service multiplies it. When your focus is locked on yourself, your ego, your image, your outcomes, fear rules your decisions. But when you shift your purpose towards serving others, boldness takes its place. Fear, at its core, is often self-absorption disguised as caution. It whispers, "What will they think of me? What if I fail and look foolish?" But service asks different questions. Who needs me to succeed today? Who suffers if I stay small or silent? That simple shift turns paralyzing fear into powerful fuel. Begin with small acts of service. Serve your team by showing up with excellence where mediocrity is tolerated. Serve your family by modeling resilience when life tempts collapse. Serve your community by solving the problems others ignore. Serve the world by becoming the highest version of yourself. Suddenly, fear fades because you're no longer the center of the story. Florence Nightingale proved this truth. She refused to let fear of disease or harsh criticism stop her. While others retreated, she advanced with unshakable compassion. In the process, she became a symbol of courage that still inspires generations. Her mission grew larger than her fear, and so can yours. The paradox of courage is that it rarely comes from trying to be brave. It emerges when something matters more than your comfort. Parents live this truth daily. The same person who dreads public speaking will fiercely confront anyone who threatens their child. Service to others overshadows personal fear. And this principle applies everywhere: business, creativity, and personal growth. The entrepreneur who obsesses over not failing stays paralyzed. The entrepreneur devoted to solving a meaningful problem pushes forward despite uncertainty. The artist paralyzed by fear of criticism produces nothing, but the one committed to expressing truth that might help even a single person creates prolifically. When your focus stays inward, obstacles feel insurmountable. Shift outward toward service, and those same obstacles shrink into problems to solve for others' benefit. Put this into practice with one question each morning. Who can I serve today, and how? Start noticing needs around you. Listen for challenges you are uniquely positioned to solve. Train yourself to see fear not as a warning to retreat, but as a signal that something meaningful is waiting for your contribution. History's greatest leaders shared this trait. They replaced self-concern with service, making personal fears irrelevant compared to the urgency of their mission to improve lives. Now the pivotal question confronts you. Will you keep hiding behind fear, making yourself the center of every situation? Or will you lead boldly with purpose, focused on the difference you are here to make? Remember, the battlefield of life is first won in the mind. Before you can achieve outwardly, you must believe inwardly. Before you rise in the world, you must train your thoughts to obey with military precision. Your mind is the command center of destiny. Yet most people never fully claim control of this most powerful asset. If your thoughts remain scattered and undisciplined, your results will inevitably reflect that chaos. But when you deliberately train your mind, your actions align, your focus sharpens, and your path becomes nearly unstoppable. Everything meaningful begins with what you allow to take root in your mental space. Train your mind with the same intensity an elite athlete uses for physical training. Daily affirmations that reinforce identity, vivid visualization of outcomes, rejection of negativity, and consistent intellectual growth are not luxuries. They are essentials. Andrew Carnegie proved this truth. Rising from poverty with little formal education, he disciplined his mind to envision goals, affirm his abilities, and believe so strongly in his vision that others were drawn into it. His empire existed in his thoughts before the first factory was ever built. Most people, however, let their minds wander like untrained children, pulled by media, opinions, emotions, and fears. The result is predictable, directionless lives, scattered efforts, and unrealized potential. A disciplined mind, in contrast, sees opportunities where others see obstacles. It stays composed under pressure, focusing on solutions while others fixate on problems. This level of mastery creates an unshakable advantage in every area of life. Begin the practice now. Spend just 10 minutes each day visualizing your goals with vivid detail until they feel inevitable. Catch negative thoughts and redirect them with the same urgency you'd use to correct a physical misstep. Feed your mind only with content that uplifts and expands your thinking. Guard your mental environment fiercely, because the information you consume, the conversations you allow, and the dialogue you repeat to yourself all shape your reality. Treat low-quality input like poison. Reject it completely. Surround yourself with wisdom, inspiration, and strategic knowledge that fuels your vision. Your subconscious accepts whatever your conscious mind repeatedly feeds it. Through affirmations, visualization, and focused attention, you program your inner compass toward your chosen future. So ask yourself, are you passively drifting wherever outside forces push you? Or are you actively steering with deliberate purpose toward the life you intend to build? Your answer defines everything that follows. Learn to love the struggle. Real strength cannot exist without resistance. The challenges you face aren't punishment, they're preparation. Yet many waste energy avoiding discomfort, only to wonder why they remain stuck in mediocrity. Those who rise above, the ones who break barriers and achieve extraordinary results, are the ones who lean into the fire and learn to embrace it. Discomfort stretches you beyond limits you never thought you could surpass. Struggle mercilessly exposes your weaknesses, yet at the same time, it builds unshakable toughness. When you learn to view pain as a gift rather than an enemy, every setback becomes high-octane fuel. Struggle turns sacred, a crucible that forges excellence out of ordinary material. So how do you fall in love with what most people spend their lives avoiding? You embrace the grind daily without complaint. You treat each obstacle as a teacher, offering lessons no easy path could ever provide. You give maximum effort, even when there's no applause or recognition. Over time, This mindset changes you at the core. You evolve into someone who thrives under pressures that crush others. Consider Booker T. Washington, who as a young man walked more than 500 miles to reach Hampton Institute. With no money for tuition, he worked as a janitor, scrubbing classrooms just to earn his education. His hardships didn't break him. They built him into the formidable leader history now celebrates. His struggle wasn't separate from success. It was the very foundation of it. The truth is, struggle acts as the ultimate filter, dividing those committed to mastery from those merely interested in it. When difficulty shows up, the merely interested make excuses and retreat. But the committed? They keep moving forward, even through pain. Look closely at anyone who has achieved greatness, and you'll find a private history filled with struggles they embraced instead of avoided. The championship athlete endured thousands of brutal training sessions. The successful entrepreneur pushed through rejection after rejection. The impactful leader faced opposition that would have silenced ordinary voices. That's why you must reframe your relationship with struggle. When discomfort appears, pause and see its hidden value. Ask yourself, what strength is this building in me? What weakness is it exposing that I can finally address? How will this prepare me for greater challenges ahead? This mindset turns struggle from enemy to ally. Remember, comfort and growth can never coexist. Every chosen discomfort, physical, mental, emotional, or social, expands your capacity. Each obstacle overcome rewires your brain to expect success, not defeat. Each setback, met with resilience, builds a psychological foundation so strong it cannot be shaken. And now, the defining question stands before you. Are you still plotting ways to avoid the struggles designed to shape you? Or will you allow them to sculpt you into someone extraordinary? Because the truth is, your answer determines not only what you achieve, but who you ultimately become. Speak with power, or be ignored. Your voice is your greatest instrument of influence. But if you speak with hesitation and doubt, the world will treat your ideas the same way. But when you speak with genuine authority, the world stops to listen. Your tone, your deliberate choice of words, and your unwavering belief in what you say all combine to shape your impact. To lead with influence, you must train yourself to communicate with razor-sharp precision and unshakable conviction, not arrogance, but authentic certainty. The truth is, no one will believe in your vision until you show complete belief in your own words. That's why this skill requires daily practice. Speak your vision aloud, even when no one is around, to strengthen your conviction. Volunteer to lead instead of hiding in the background. Confront difficult conversations directly instead of avoiding them. Learn to remain composed under verbal pressure, even when others crumble. This ability is not optional. It's essential for anyone who hopes to lead change. Winston Churchill, once a shy child with a speech impediment, transformed himself through relentless practice into one of history's most powerful orators. His words helped save Western civilization because he didn't wait for confidence. He built it, one carefully crafted sentence at a time. Powerful speech always carries clear qualities: clarity instead of confusion, brevity instead of rambling, conviction instead of hesitation, and purpose instead of aimlessness. When you speak with these traits, attention comes naturally. Start refining your communication today. Cut weak phrases like "I think," "maybe," or "sort of." Replace them with strong, direct statements. Eliminate needless apologies that weaken your authority before you even begin. Stand fully behind your words. Let your body reinforce your message. Stand tall, hold steady eye contact, and project your voice from your diaphragm, not your throat. These small adjustments dramatically change how others receive your message. And never forget, powerful speech isn't about volume or aggression. The most impactful communicators speak with measured control, using strategic pauses and thoughtful articulation. Their power doesn't come from dominating the room, but from saying exactly what matters with absolute conviction. Developing this skill demands courage. Courage to hear your own voice, to stand firm when challenged, and to risk being wrong while fully committing to your position. As this courage grows, so does your influence. Words create worlds. The language you choose literally shapes how you and others see reality. History's greatest leaders understood this truth. They wielded it deliberately to move people into action, to inspire through darkness, and to turn possibility into achievement. Now the question comes to you. Do your words project life, vision, and strength that pull others toward greatness? Or do they echo the fears and doubts that hold you back? Bitterness is another silent enemy. It is an invisible chain binding you to the past. You cannot climb to new heights while dragging its weight. You cannot reach your full potential if you cling to resentment, because carrying it leaves no room for your dreams. Forgiveness is not weakness, as some think. It is ultimate freedom. Yes, you were hurt. Yes, you were betrayed. Those wounds are real, but holding on to them only makes them heavier. Resentment quietly drains your creativity and poisons your joy. Resentment clouds your judgment and blinds you to present opportunities. Forgive quickly, not because those who wronged you deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Your future needs your full attention, free from the weight of past injuries. Release these burdens with deliberate practice. Write your feelings honestly, then close that chapter. Share your pain with trusted confidants, then let it go. Pray, if that aligns with your faith. Meditate, if that serves your process. The method may differ, but the goal is the same. Release grievances completely so you can rise unencumbered. Abraham Lincoln understood this deeply. Even within his own cabinet, he faced betrayal and contempt. Yet he kept his eyes on the greater mission. He forgave personal offenses and united a fractured nation because his purpose far outweighed his right to dwell on personal pain. Forgiveness quickly becomes a competitive advantage. While others stay trapped in old wounds, replaying grievances, you move forward with clarity and energy. This creates acceleration, allowing you to distance yourself from those still anchored to bitterness. Forgiveness does not erase wisdom gained. You can release resentment while keeping the lessons. You can pardon offenders while setting better boundaries. You can let go of past injuries while making wiser choices in the future. Most importantly, forgiveness frees your mental bandwidth. The human mind has limited capacity for focus and emotion. Every moment spent replaying old hurts drains the energy you need for creating, building, and advancing. The equation is simple. Less resentment means more energy for growth. Begin this practice now. Identify the grudges you carry. Name them clearly. Acknowledge their weight. Then make the conscious choice to release them. Not because they weren't real, but because your future matters more than your past. The pressing question remains. Are you still pouring energy into battles that ended long ago? Or are you clearing space for the victories waiting ahead? Your answer will decide whether your past stays your prison or becomes your foundation. You rise to the level of your circle. Surrounded by complacency, mediocrity becomes your ceiling. But when you walk with those who challenge and sharpen you, growth accelerates. The company you keep shapes your path more than almost anything else. Your circle influences more than just your thoughts. It defines your actions, your opportunities, and ultimately your ceiling. This isn't about elitism. It's about intentional growth. Think of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Their habits, mindsets, and ambitions are quietly sculpting your future. So ask yourself, do they push you forward or hold you back? Do they celebrate your growth or subtly discourage it? The hard truth is that loyalty to relationships that limit your growth can anchor you away from your true potential. You don't need a crowd. You need a few who reflect your future, not your past. Surround yourself with people who call you out when you're playing small, who lift you when challenges arise, and who refuse to let you settle for less than your true potential. These relationships aren't always comfortable. Iron sharpens iron through friction, not softness. Audit your circle today. Who drains your energy instead of fueling it? Who dismisses your ambitions instead of encouraging them? This isn't about cutting people off coldly, but about intentionally investing more in relationships that serve your vision and less in those that don't. Building a circle that sharpens you requires purpose. Join mastermind groups where peers challenge your thinking. Seek mentors who've walked the path you aspire to. Share your goals with people who will hold you accountable, not just nod politely. Build alliances on shared purpose, not just shared history. Henry Ford's success accelerated when he surrounded himself with giants like Thomas Edison, Harvey Firestone, and other visionaries in the Vagabonds group. They challenged each other, shared insights across industries, and collectively sharpened their minds. Their personal achievements were great, but their collective impact was revolutionary. The truth is, excellence is contagious, and so is mediocrity. The difference lies in your willingness to choose the former, even when the latter feels easier. Ask yourself, is your circle your anchor or your wings? Are you surrounded by those who remind you of who you've been, or those who push you toward who you could become? The company you keep isn't just a reflection of who you are. It's a preview of who you're becoming. Choose wisely. Your future self will thank you. Be consistent even when no one is watching. The world rewards what you do consistently, not occasionally. Most people only show up when eyes are on them. They post highlights, but never build foundations. To become unstoppable, your discipline must be invisible, internal, and unshakable. Your true strength is revealed in what you do when applause is absent. Consistency in private creates excellence in public. Anyone can perform when the spotlight shines, when motivation is high, or when accountability is near. But champions are forged in empty rooms, on cold mornings, and in moments of doubt, when nothing outside compels them forward. What separates the extraordinary from the ordinary isn't talent or opportunity. It's the surrender to daily discipline when every instinct begs for comfort. It's completing the workout no one would notice if you skipped. It's refining your craft long before recognition arrives. It's honoring commitments to yourself with the same weight as promises to others. When you show up daily, even tired or discouraged, you change. Your identity shifts from someone who tries to someone who simply is. You stop leaning on fleeting motivation and begin building unstoppable momentum. Habits shape your character, and character defines your destiny. Make your routine sacred. Wake up when you said you would. Finish what you promised yourself. Train your mind and body even when no one notices. In time, the results will be undeniable. The small, unseen choices made in private always surface as public victories that seem sudden to everyone but you. Invisible consistency compounds. Each day you honor your commitments, you grow stronger, not only in skill but in your relationship with yourself. You build self-trust, the unshakable confidence that your word to yourself matters. That trust becomes the foundation for all success. History's greatest leaders knew this truth. George Washington didn't inspire solely through speeches. He led through relentless consistency. Through the brutal winters at Valley Forge, through low morale and overwhelming odds, he showed up. Not once, not sometimes, but always. His men followed him because his character, forged in consistency, was undeniable. And here lies the paradox. What you do in silence ultimately defines what the world will see. Your private disciplines become your public strengths. Your hidden consistency becomes your visible excellence. Are you building habits in silence, or waiting for a stage to begin? Are you acting for others, or preparing for greatness? Your answer will decide whether your success is fleeting or lasting. True power doesn't come from occasional brilliance, but from relentless consistency. Not from what you could do, but from what you do every single day. Not from intentions, but from habits. Be consistent when no one is watching, and eventually, everyone will see. Now, take rejection and turn it into fuel. Rejection isn't a wall, it's a weapon if you learn to use it. Most people take rejection personally and let it bury them. But the few who succeed view rejection differently. They see it as proof they're pushing beyond limits. Rejection means you're moving, risking, alive. Every no is evidence you're operating at the edge of possibility. While others retreat to the safety of never asking, never trying, never risking, you remain in the arena. Your scars aren't weakness. They're medals of courage. The line between extraordinary and ordinary often lies not in talent, but in how you process rejection. To use it well, you must flip its meaning. Instead of hearing, "You're not enough," hear, "Not yet." Instead of retreating, improve. Sharpen. Let the pain fuel you, but never let it define you. Rejection isn't personal. It's data, feedback for your next iteration. The masters in any field share this trait. They've faced more rejection than most could bear, but they metabolized it differently. What broke others only bent them for a moment. They developed the rare ability to turn disappointment into determination. Reflect on every no. Ask yourself, what can I improve? What truth does this reveal? Turn rejection into relentless refinement. Sometimes the lesson is persistence. Other times it's about seeing blind spots you once missed. Either way, rejection becomes your most honest teacher when you're humble enough to learn. History's greatest innovators weren't immune to rejection. They were immune to letting it stop them. Walt Disney was turned down hundreds of times by investors who dismissed him as unrealistic. Yet he pressed forward, because his vision was larger than their opinions. Today, his name is etched into history. Your ability to face rejection directly determines your capacity for achievement. The greatest risk isn't being rejected. It's never stepping into a position where rejection is possible. Playing it too safe slowly suffocates your dreams under the weight of what-ifs and somedays. The pattern is clear. Those who turn rejection into fuel rise to heights the avoiders will never reach. They know comfort and greatness rarely coexist. They accept the sting of temporary rejection for the thrill of eventual breakthrough. The real question isn't if you'll face rejection. That's guaranteed when pursuing anything worthwhile. The question is, what will you do with it? Will you let it shrink you back into safety? Or will you recognize it as proof that you're exactly where you should be, on the edge of your potential, pushing boundaries few ever dare? Will you break under rejection or break records with it? The choice and the legacy it leaves is yours. Discipline is freedom. It may sound like a paradox, but it's an unshakable truth. The more disciplined you are, the more freedom you create. Most see discipline as a cage, but in reality, it's the master key that unlocks every meaningful door. Without it, you live at the mercy of your environment. Energy shifts with mood. Productivity depends on fleeting inspiration. Health rises and falls with temptation. Finances expand and collapse with impulses. Undisciplined, you live reactively, pushed by circumstances instead of pulled by vision. But with discipline, you're in command. You move by choice, not by chance. You design your future with intention, not reaction. A disciplined mind isn't swayed by moods or the path of least resistance. It knows that freedom isn't the absence of structure, it's the presence of the right structure. True freedom isn't doing whatever you want in the moment. It's the power to achieve what matters most. The disciplined person is free to pursue ambitious goals because they've mastered themselves first. They're free from the tyranny of indecision by committing to clear priorities. They're free from financial stress through spending discipline. They're free from health crises by maintaining physical discipline. Build structure into your life. Block time. Keep the schedule. Delay pleasure. Choose the pain of discipline over the pain of regret. Small, consistent actions compound into extraordinary results. Daily workouts build strength. Daily practice creates mastery. Daily focus builds business. Daily mindfulness shapes unshakable character. Discipline isn't restriction, it's concentrated power. Just like a river gains force when channeled through a narrow passage, your energy creates greater impact when directed with discipline. Your time, focus, and resources, applied consistently to clear targets, become unstoppable. Benjamin Franklin knew this well. He tracked his days, refined his habits, and mastered his energy. Because of that discipline, he left his mark on science, politics, and philosophy, all in one lifetime. His structure didn't limit him. It expanded his reach beyond what most could imagine. The paradox disappears when you understand discipline for what it truly is, trading control over trivial choices to gain control over meaningful outcomes, sacrificing momentary pleasure for lasting satisfaction. It's choosing your future over your present. A disciplined life isn't restricted, it's liberated. It frees you from regret, wasted potential, and deferred dreams. It gives you the freedom to become who you're truly capable of being. So ask yourself, are you free because you're disciplined or trapped because you resist it? Your answer shapes not only today, but who you become tomorrow. Never outsource your self-worth. Too many tie their value to the opinions of others. When your confidence depends on applause, you're a puppet. If they cheer, you rise. If they criticize, you crumble. That isn't power, it's slavery. External validation is seductive. Professional praise, relationship approval. These may feel nourishing, but they're sugar rushes that quickly fade, leaving you emptier than before. Ground your worth in truth, your effort, your growth, your integrity. Wake each day already knowing, I matter, not because of what they say, but because of who I am becoming. This isn't arrogance, it's ownership. Your value was never up for debate. It existed long before anyone could judge it. The most powerful leaders understand this. True worth is internal. They measure themselves by standards they've chosen carefully, not by the shifting winds of outside opinion. They pursue excellence not for applause, but because excellence itself has become the standard. They build character not for reputation, but because integrity is its own reward. Stand before the mirror and affirm yourself. Remind your mind that you are in charge. Don't wait for approval to feel proud. Validate your own efforts. Celebrate your growth. Forgive your failures. The world's opinion is just that, and opinion. Your truth runs deeper. Real conviction doesn't ignore feedback or reject valuable perspective. Instead, it filters external voices through inner wisdom. It asks, does this align with my values? Will it help me grow? Is it truth or simply opinion? It takes what serves and discards the rest. History's most transformative figures lived by this principle. Helen Keller, deaf and blind from childhood, was told she'd never contribute. Yet she refused to accept those limits. She built her own voice and shook the world with it. Her worth wasn't defined by others' perceptions, but by the possibilities she carried within. Those who outsource their worth live at the mercy of others' moods. They bend themselves to please, perform for approval, and hide their truth for acceptance. The emotional toll is heavy. The creative cost is immeasurable. And the damage to leadership is profound. Take back authorship of your value. Stop scanning rooms to measure your standing. Stop reshaping your voice to meet expectations. Your worth is non-negotiable. It was never on the table. Doubt will come, yes, but when it does, return to your foundations, your effort, your growth, your intentions, and your courage. These are the real measures of a life well lived, not the fleeting opinions that surround you. Is your value internal and unshakable, or rented from the voices of others? That answer decides whether you live by design or by default, whether you lead or simply follow, whether you create history or merely watch it unfold. Become the example worth following. Don't just chase greatness, embody it. Let your life speak so clearly that words are unnecessary. When you carry excellence into every room, every task, every interaction, people will follow without being asked. Influence doesn't come from titles or positions. It flows from who you are and what you consistently demonstrate. People trust integrity, excellence, and courage when they see them lived out. While most talk about standards, the extraordinary few practice them daily. This embodiment creates a magnetic pull that no theory or management technique can replace. To be that example, raise your standards. Arrive early, prepare fully, speak less, and show more. Never ask others to do what you haven't done yourself. Let your actions carry the weight. In a world of empty promises, the one who delivers quietly stands out. Excellence doesn't need a spotlight. It creates its own. And the most powerful examples aren't flawless. They are authentic. They admit their struggles while showing resilience. They make mistakes but take responsibility. They face the same challenges as everyone else, yet respond with uncommon character. This genuine journey inspires far more than any image of perfection ever could. Leading by example isn't about grand gestures. It's about the steady impact of consistent choices, replying to emails promptly, honoring commitments faithfully, showing kindness even when it's hard. These small, repeated actions compound into undeniable character that others naturally want to follow. Those who set the example know that true teaching comes through demonstration. Integrity, work ethic, and resilience are absorbed by watching, not just by hearing explanations. Your daily conduct becomes a living leadership manual studied by everyone around you. Theodore Roosevelt understood this well. Whether ranching cattle or leading a nation, he embodied grit, integrity, and unstoppable action. His presence alone could ignite movements. At San Juan Hill, he didn't just point, he led the charge. When advocating conservation, he didn't only sign laws. He camped under the stars with John Muir. His life itself became his strongest argument. Being the example takes immense self-discipline. You must hold yourself accountable when no one else will. You must keep high standards when others settle for less. You must embody your principles, even when it's inconvenient or unpopular. That unwavering commitment is what makes your example so powerful. People recognize authenticity when conviction comes at a cost. The irony is striking. The less you chase followers and the more you focus on being the example, the more naturally others will follow. True influence flows not to those seeking it, but to those so committed to excellence that their very pursuit leaves a powerful wake behind them. Are you setting the tone or waiting for someone else to lead? Are you living the standard or only talking about it? The answers reveal whether you're shaping culture or simply echoing it. Become the example that convinces others greater achievement is possible, not with words, but with the undeniable proof of a life well lived. Guard your time as if your life depends on it, because it does. Time is the one resource you can never recover. Once spent, it's gone forever. Yet most people give it away carelessly. saying yes to distractions, wasting hours on nonsense, and then wondering why success never comes. Your time isn't just currency. It is your life force, broken into moments that ultimately define your legacy. The way you spend your hours is the way you spend your life. While many obsess over financial investments, they ignore the far greater investment of their irreplaceable time. You must become ruthless with your schedule. Every minute given to what doesn't move you forward steals from your purpose. Time is not just money, it's your life in motion. The most successful people don't have more hours than you. They simply protect theirs with fierce intention. Meanwhile, most drift aimlessly, reacting to what feels urgent, surrendering to constant interruptions, and wondering why progress always escapes them. Too many people treat time as if it were infinite, as if tomorrow will always be waiting for them to finally start the important work. But time is ruthlessly finite. Track your days. Block hours for deep work. Cut activities that drain you. Say no without guilt. Protect your time as if it were sacred, because it is. Build boundaries that others cannot cross. Have the courage to disappoint people temporarily rather than disappoint yourself permanently. Time thieves are everywhere, hidden in endless meetings, pointless breaks, and the urgent constantly overpowering the important. Learn to spot them. Eliminate them. Your focus is far too valuable to surrender to whatever shouts loudest for your attention. Masters of every craft live by this truth. They don't find time for what matters. They make it by cutting away the trivial. They know success comes not from doing more, but from doing the right things with complete focus. And your time management directly reflects your self-worth. When you allow constant interruptions, when you fail to guard your creative hours, when you hand your attention to whatever pops up on a screen, you send a message about how little you value your own potential. Time is the raw material of your future. Guard it fiercely. Invest it wisely. Use it for creation, not endless consumption. Give it only to what truly deserves you. So ask yourself, do you control your time, or does your time control you? The answer decides whether you'll create the future you dream of, or watch it slip away one distracted hour at a time. Don't chase balance. Chase clarity, because balance is not the real goal. Clarity is. And when you know what matters most, you give it your best energy, your best hours, your best self. Balance implies equal weight, but purpose demands priority. Chasing balance often leads to mediocrity. You give partial attention to everything and full attention to nothing. Purpose, on the other hand, creates the kind of intentional imbalance that moves mountains, builds legacies, and changes lives. Not everything deserves equal space in your life. You can't give everything equal time, but you can give the right things your full presence. That's the difference between a scattered life and a focused legacy. When you're with your family, be fully there. When you're building your business, go all in. When you're serving your community, give it complete focus. This depth of presence matters more than perfectly divided hours. Purpose isn't about doing less. It's about pouring yourself into what truly matters. It's about structuring your life around a central mission, instead of trying to squeeze your mission into an already crowded schedule. It means making hard choices with clarity, not easy compromises that satisfy no one, least of all yourself. Define what matters most, protect it, and be willing to sacrifice. Be prepared to be misunderstood by those chasing everything but standing for nothing. A purposeful life isn't always popular. It requires saying no to good things so you can say yes to great things. At times, this will mean disappointing some so you can deeply impact others. It will require seasons of apparent imbalance that may seem extreme to onlookers, but feel aligned to you. The myth of perfect balance only breeds guilt, leaving you feeling like you're always neglecting something. But when you organize around purpose, you make peace with necessary trade-offs. You begin to recognize that certain seasons demand intensity in one area. You stop expecting your energy to be evenly spread across all domains at all times. Clara Barton, founder of the American Red Cross, wasn't balanced. She was purposeful. And because of that, she saved thousands of lives. During the Civil War, Clara Barton didn't split her focus between comfort and battlefield nursing. She gave herself fully to her purpose, working to exhaustion, sleeping in ambulances, even risking her life under fire. That imbalance wasn't dysfunction, it was devotion. Purpose creates a clear hierarchy of values that simplifies decisions. When you know your primary aim, you filter every opportunity through that lens. You evaluate relationships, career choices, and daily habits by whether they support or distract from your mission. This clarity removes the exhausting indecision of trying to weigh everything equally. Don't mistake purpose for neglect. It doesn't mean abandoning health or relationships. It means weaving them in with intention, not scattering attention aimlessly. Different seasons demand different allocations of your finite energy. The question is, are you chasing balance, or are you leading with purpose? Are you trying to do everything adequately, or focusing on what matters most and doing it exceptionally? The answers reveal whether you're headed toward lasting impact or inevitable exhaustion. Take radical ownership. You can't change what you refuse to claim. The moment you blame others, you surrender your power. But when you own it all, the setbacks, the choices, the outcomes, you unlock the ability to become unstoppable. The difference between those who shape their circumstances and those who are shaped by them begins with ownership. The former take full ownership, the latter spread blame. One approach builds empires, the other builds excuses. One produces leaders, the other victims. The dividing line isn't circumstance, it's ownership. This isn't about guilt, it's about growth. If it's your responsibility, then it's within your power to change. That shift is pure liberation. When you embrace radical ownership, every problem becomes a project. Every setback turns into feedback. Every challenge reveals opportunity. The blame game ends, and the growth game begins. Radical ownership means eliminating phrases like "I had no choice" or "they made me" from your vocabulary. It means replacing "I can't" because with "I will find a way." It's realizing that while you can't control every circumstance, you always control your response. That response is where your true power lies. Most people live in reaction to others' expectations, to market conditions, to old programming. They surrender authorship of their lives to external forces. Ownership reclaims it. It draws a line in the sand and declares, "From this moment forward, I am responsible for my reality." Start by reviewing your own life. Where are you playing victim? Where have you outsourced responsibility? Pull it back. Own it, then fix it. Look closely at your relationships, career, health, and finances. Ask yourself where you've been waiting for someone else to solve what only you can solve. The answers may be uncomfortable, but within them lies your breakthrough. Ownership doesn't mean you avoid help or collaboration. It means you remain accountable for the outcome, no matter who contributes along the way. It means never pointing fingers when things go wrong. It means saying, "I'll handle it," instead of, "That's not my job." This mindset transforms teams, relationships, and organizations because ownership is contagious. George Washington Carver didn't blame society. He took responsibility for his gifts and revolutionized agriculture. His power came from personal accountability. Born into slavery and confronted with overwhelming racial barriers, he could have justified blaming systems beyond his control. Instead, he owned his education, his research, and his impact. He didn't wait for permission to contribute. He didn't demand perfect conditions to pursue excellence. Radical ownership is the antidote to helplessness. It's the path where the oppressed become empowered, the struggling find success, and the ordinary rise to extraordinary. And it's available to anyone willing to stop outsourcing responsibility and start internalizing it. The paradox is striking. The more you own, the freer you become. Because true freedom isn't the absence of responsibility, it's the full acceptance of it. It's the power to shape what comes next, no matter what came before. Will you blame the world, or will you own your future? This question isn't philosophical, it's predictive. Your answer decides whether you'll be explaining why you couldn't or demonstrating how you did. Stay humble as you rise. Success has a strange effect on the human spirit. As achievements accumulate and recognition grows, an invisible adversary quietly emerges: pride. This silent saboteur doesn't announce itself. It creeps in slowly, reshaping your perspective until you start to believe the ground beneath your feet is higher than everyone else's. The true danger of pride isn't its presence, it's its deception. It convinces you that your rise is entirely your doing, that only your perspective matters, and that you've outgrown the need for guidance. Soon, what began as confidence hardens into arrogance, a fortress that locks wisdom out and traps ego inside. Humility offers another way. Not false modesty or self-deprecation, but the genuine humility of accurate self-assessment. It's recognizing your strengths while never forgetting your limitations. It's honoring your achievements while remembering the shoulders you stand on. It's knowing that no matter how far you've come, there is always more to learn. Dwight D. Eisenhower, who commanded the largest invasion force in history and later led the most powerful nation on Earth, lived this principle. When praised for D-Day's success, he consistently credited his troops. As president, he sought diverse perspectives instead of relying solely on his own judgment. His legacy endures not just for what he accomplished, but for how he accomplished it, with humility that strengthened rather than weakened his authority. The paradox of progress is that its sustainability depends on what seems opposite to ambition. The higher you climb, the more essential humility becomes. Like a towering tree whose roots must reach as deep as its branches stretch upward, your growth demands equal grounding and humility. And this truth shows itself in practice, remaining teachable regardless of your title, and listening to feedback even when it challenges your thinking. Attribute success generously to others while taking full responsibility for shortcomings. Approach each day as a student, not a master. Many confuse humility with weakness, thinking self-promotion and dominance secure advancement. Yet history proves the opposite time and again. The loudest voices often fade quickly, while those who speak with quiet confidence, grounded in real capability rather than bravado, build lasting influence. Humility isn't the denial of your gifts, it's the fulfillment of them. It's recognizing their source and purpose, and understanding that your value never diminishes when you elevate others. As you rise, celebrate progress without becoming intoxicated by it. Practice gratitude that honors both your effort and the many contributions that made it possible. Stay open to correction, hungry for growth, and generous with opportunity. True greatness isn't measured by how high you climb, but by how many you lift along the way. The surest path upward isn't announcing your elevation, but keeping your feet firmly rooted in humility while your vision stretches higher. Will success make you arrogant, or even more grounded? That choice shapes everything. Winners act as if success is already theirs long before proof appears. This isn't delusion, it's strategic conviction. Look closely at every breakthrough, and you'll see the same pattern. Those who achieve remarkable results don't wait for external validation to adopt the mindset of a winner. They embody it first, letting their inner compass shape their outer reality rather than the reverse. Frederick Douglass is proof. Born into slavery, he refused to internalize the limits imposed on him. Long before he gained legal freedom, Douglass carried himself with the dignity and authority of a statesman. He devoured books when literacy was forbidden, spoke with the eloquence of a free man when his humanity was denied, and envisioned himself as an equal even when society insisted otherwise. His freedom began in mind and spirit before it became reality. This principle holds true in every arena of achievement. The entrepreneur acts like a successful business owner while still working from a garage. The artist creates with the discipline of a master while still unknown. The athlete trains with championship intensity before ever earning a medal. They don't pretend, they prepare. Acting as if you are meant to win requires deliberate practices. Speaking with certainty instead of hesitation, walking with purpose instead of apology, dressing for the role you seek rather than the one you hold, and thinking with the clarity of someone who has already overcome the obstacles ahead. This mindset isn't about shallow posturing. It's about full alignment. When your thoughts, words, actions, and appearance contradict your aspirations, you create friction that slows progress. But when they align, you generate coherence that accelerates momentum. The psychological mechanism at work here is powerful. Your subconscious mind responds to the identity you consistently display. When you act like a winner, your mind starts aligning every decision toward winning. Your reticular activating system, the filter that shapes what you notice, begins highlighting opportunities instead of obstacles. People also react differently to your presence, opening doors that stay shut to the hesitant. This approach won't guarantee instant results, but it does create an immediate shift in how you face challenges. Disappointments that might stop someone waiting for permission become simple data points for those committed to their destination. The real question isn't whether you have what it takes. It's whether you'll act as if you do, starting now, before the evidence appears. Will you wait for external validation, or will you walk, speak, and think like someone destined for extraordinary achievement? Your identity always comes before your results. Act as if you cannot fail, not out of arrogance, but from deep conviction. The world has a way of making room for those who move with certainty. Success isn't something you chase. It's something you embody until it has no choice but to meet you. You've waited long enough. This is your time to rise, sharpen your edge, and outpace the competition. Apply these lessons with relentless focus and watch your momentum grow. The unstoppable aren't born. They are built through discipline and strategy. Start today and let your actions silence every doubt. Wishing you health, happiness, and remember to subscribe to my channel, Mindset Daily.